Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome everyone to our Dhamma lectures. So for today, in the Dhamma subject is lecture number 3. We will continue the Dhamma group 3.2, and it's Sunday, 17 August 2024. So today I will continue the next Dhamma topic, but it's also relevant and related to what we learned from last week, which I will give you some recap and overview so you see how they related and how to connect the dot. Most importantly, one skill that Luang Pi recommend everyone to kind of find way to develop, have this investigation skill to see how each Dhamma that you learn are related. Because in the Nak Dhamma study program, the curriculum designed for, I would say, even non-Buddhist people can come and learn. Just start from something simple, start from the precepts, start from the meditation, start from the dana, start from the triple gem, something like this, but something simple. But what it lacks is, maybe student doesn't know how to connect the dot. You learn Dhamma group 2, last week Dhamma group 3.1, and today is going to continue Dhamma group 3.2. Do you know how to connect them together? Do you see the whole picture of the Dhamma, how they are related? Where are we heading? What is the light at the end of the tunnel of us walking down this path, studying the teaching of the Buddha? So please keep that in mind. So as an instructor, it's my job to help students to see that, to see the big picture and guide you through this, this path together, and hopefully it helps to clarify some doubt about the Dhamma topic, about the way to study Dhamma that you might have. And that's something I like to go deeper for in today's lecture. Okay. All right. So just recap a little bit. Last week we learned the triple gems. In case you missed the class, so please go back and relearn from the video, and make sure that you check on the attendance sheet as well, so the instructor know that you have learned on your own pace already. So we did talk about the triple gems, the Buddha gems, the Dhamma gem, and the Sangha gem. So these are the 3 gems in Buddhism. We did learn why they're so important, what is meant by the Buddha gem, the Dhamma gem, and the Sangha gem. And we also talk about the wholesome and unwholesome through the lens of Buddhism. In other words, we talk about the good and the bad in Buddhism. Because the Buddha teach 3 things, right? The instruction that we learned from last time. Stop doing bad, continue doing good, and purify one's mind. He did not just stop there by telling us, oh, don't do bad. Oh, how do I know this thing is bad? How do I know this thing is good? So he gave us a precise instruction. This is the good and this is the bad. If one do this, you consider doing bad. If one do this, you consider doing good. So the good and the bad is the unwholesome action. So human being, we can commit the action in 3 ways: through the body, through the speech, and through the mind. Same thing. Wholesome action, 3 ways: body, speech, and mind. Unwholesome action, 3 ways: body, speech, and mind. What is meant by bodily unwholesome, or the kaya kamma? Kamma means action. Okay, so each week you will be introduced the new Pali terms, and I encourage you to get familiar with it. Don't feel intimidated by the term that you're not knowing. It's okay. Just keep coming back to it, and later on you will get used to it and get to know the meaning in English, along the way as well. I will not test the Pali in the exam, but just want you to familiar with the term and hear them out, because when you study the teaching of the Buddha by yourself from the Buddhist text, you will come across this term definitely. So bodily action by killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, this is considered bad karma. It's called unwholesome. Okay, akusala. This is another term, akusala karma. Kusala mean kusala, this one. Kusala mean kuson mean goodness or wholesomeness. Kusala and karma mean the karma that consider wholesome. So akusala And kamma mean the kamma that consider unwholesome. Okay, so killing, stealing, sexual misconduct is bad. Don't do it. Oppositely, abstaining from killing, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, that consider a bodily wholesome action. That mentioned by the Buddha himself. What about speech? We call vachi. Vachi mean speech. Vachi kamma. You commit the kamma through verbally what you say. False speech, slanderous speech, or harsh speech, divisive speech, and frivolous speech, or speech that unbeneficial. This consider akusala. Avoid doing that. So if you do opposite, abstaining from false speech, abstaining from slanderous or harsh speech, abstaining from divisive speech, and abstaining from frivolous speech, this consider kusala. In the Noble Eightfold Path, which I believe most of us familiar with, we're familiar with the term the Four Noble Truths, we're familiar with the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path talk about the right speech. And this is it. See, now you can connect the dot when you learn the Noble Eightfold Path, which we will learn in the later session in the future, not next week, next following weeks. But when we talk about the Dhamma Group 8, we will talk about the Noble Eightfold Path. But you can connect them now. What is right speech? This is right speech, or correct speech, or proper speech, or wholesome speech. The speech that fall into this category. This is called right speech. And this is called wrong speech. So now you see that, oh, okay, the right speech in the Noble Eightfold Path is already appears here in this one, the Dhamma Group 3 that we learned last week. Okay? What about the mind? Mano mean mind. Sometimes we hear the word citta. Citta or mano or mind. There are three things that consider bad thinking. Okay, consider bad thinking or akusala kamma in terms of thinking. First, covetousness. What is covetousness? Is like greed. Right? You wanting something from someone unwholesomely, like craving for something badly. Payabat or ill will. This is driven by hatred or anger. The first one, covetousness, driven by greed. And the last one is a wrong will. Vichaditi. This also driven by delusion. This is quite interesting. Again, can we relate all of this through the Noble Eightfold Path? You see the wrong view here, and you see the right view here. Right view is the first item on the list of the Noble Eightfold Path, right? So right view points to non-delusion, to see things the way they are, to understand things the way they are, to understand things correctly, which we will again elaborate more when we talk about the Noble Eightfold Path. But just get yourself thinking deeper, not just read what you saw on the screen. Try to connect the dot. So by craving for something unwholesomely, by having agitation or aversion towards someone, something, that's considered the wrong thinking. And the wrong will also. In this case, the Buddha did not explain anything much in this particular teaching, so we have to find some other explanation from different sutra. So the wrong will, what is meant by wrong will, he did not explain here, okay? But he pinpoint here that wrong will, covetousness and ill will is considered the bad way of thinking. Okay? What about the right way of thinking? Is non-greed, non-covetousness, non-hatred, okay, no anger, and non-delusion. Okay, there are three things, which again, not much explanation. But what we can learn from here at this very moment is, okay, at least we know the Buddha try to teach us that, guy, this is considered bad on this side, and this is considered good on this side. Body, speech, and mind. The way you do things, the way you say things, and the way you're thinking. Now you have some indicator telling you that, hey, this thinking is bad. Hey, this saying is bad. This doing or action is bad. At least we have some indicator telling us, so we can, avoid doing the bad thing, right? It's not just, okay, you do good. What it means by doing good If you ask 3 people, you get different different opinion. Or doing this is good, doing this is bad, because it come from their own judgment. But all of this information in front of you, it's come from the teaching of the Buddha that he gave 2,500 years ago, which is still relevant, still up to date. Okay? I will connect the dot, come back to this again in this afternoon lecture, because what we learned today, I like to take you guys a little bit deeper, not just go through the text and know, okay, this is the Dhamma group 3, Dhamma group 4. That's too easy. You can read by yourself. You don't need me to tell you, what's in which Dhamma is in which group. And the last one we learned from last week is about the root, the Pali called mula, the unwholesome root and the wholesome root. Root mean what? Root mean it's stem from here, right? The good things stem from here, the bad things stem from here. When you track it down, whatever the defilement in this world, whatever drive us to do bad in this world, when we track them down, it's coming down to these 3 kind of root. First is called greed. Second is called hate. The third is called delusion. Or we familiar with the term lopa, dosa, and moha. That's the name. What is greed? What is hatred? What is delusion? I'll show you the picture in a moment. Oppositely, there also the root of wholesomeness or kusala moon. The Buddha point to alopa or non-greed, dosa or non-hate, moha or non-delusion. This from Sammatiti Sutra, explained by Venerable Sariputta. There are details in this sutra as well, so feel free to check them out. Okay, for those of you who hear this for the first time, you may be wondering, what is this thing? Why they're so important? Why I have to know all of this? If we can summarize all of those mental impurities or mental defilements, there are many of them out there, but we can group them into 3 headings according to this picture. The first heading is called lopa or greed. Second heading is called dosa or hatred or anger. And the third headings or the third group is called moha or delusion. And 3 of these, when we track them down, they stem from the same root. This is the boss. The boss is down here. This is the big boss. The big boss is avijja or ignorance, not knowing things the way they are. We don't know that we don't know. That's the first level of avijja. This is quite scary. We don't know why we're here. We don't know where we're from. We don't know the purpose of life. We don't know where we'll be going after we die. We don't know how many lifetimes have we born. And we don't know how long it's going to continue doing something like this. Keep on reborn and reborn and reborn for countless lifetime. We have no idea. The Buddha is the one who knows. He wake up to this true nature of things. That's why there's a word called samsara, or the cycle of existence. The Buddha said there's no one know when it's begin, no one know how far we have come, and no one know when it will be ended. It's a long journey, but for sure we are the traveler of the samsara. We are the traveler of the cycle of existence. We have been traveling in circle for a countless lifetime and still continue to travel without knowing when it's going to be ended because of this guy, the avijja. And then avijja stem to after avijja is give rise to lopa, give rise to dosa, and give rise to moha, and it's become many form of defilement. If we study the subject of defilements alone, we'll be surprised that there are thousands of names when it comes to each defilements. 1,000, 2,000, there are many names. when we talk about the defilements. But no matter how many of them out there, we can group them into these three groups. That's why it's called the root. The root. The root. You think of the matter color, right? If you mix the yellow, the red, and the blue together, you can get different color shade. Thousands of color shades come from these three main color. Same thing. Depends on how many proportion that you put them together, you get a new color. This is the idea. And why they are so important, why we need to know all of this. Is that something I should pay attention, or something is just the theory for me to be aware that the Buddha talk about something like this? This is something that I like to explain today. Start from this picture, which we will keep coming back to this again. This is the idea, okay, of someone following the teaching of the Buddha. Whether you are a man, having good life, lay life, or you decided to be a monk or nun full time, having no family, leave everything behind and walk directly toward the path of Nibbana. The Buddha point us to, at the final destination, he point us to something called Nibbana. Again, we may not know what it is for a moment, but it's okay. That's what the Buddha teaches. It's our job to find a way to understand. So there's something called Nibbana at the final destination. Whoever you are, if you start walk down this path following the teaching, you probably arrive there sooner than those who have no idea what life is all about. And you come here to educate yourself, okay, to be happy, to be success by utilizing the Dhamma that taught by the Buddha. And here, the Buddha teach us what we learned from last week. There's so many teaching that I teach, but to keep it simple, you just following these three things. Whatever consider bad, you don't do it. Whatever consider good, you do it. Whatever, and not only that, you continue to purify your mind by practice meditation. Three things. Keep it simple. So we can say, okay, this is the core teaching of the Buddha. In one way, by looking the teaching through this lens, the answer is correct. Okay, stop doing bad, continue doing good, and continue to meditate, to purify the mind. And now we know what is meant by bad, what is meant by good, and we also know how to meditate. You seem to have the dot connected, at some level. Okay, is there anything else that we should learn from this, picture, which will help us to connect the dot much better? Because by looking at this, for someone to realize Nibbana is not easy. There's no shortcut. It's not one lifetime job. Not just all of a sudden, today come and learn meditation, observing precept, and tomorrow achieve enlightenment. It's not easy like that. The Buddha himself took him a very long time. From a man who know nothing to become a man who know everything. It's a journey. It's a very long, arduous journey, a countless lifetime. So number one, what we see from here is, this is not the first lifetime that we are born. And it's definitely not the last lifetime either. There is something called the samsara, or the cycle of existence, which we may have no idea what it is, but according to the teaching, there's something called the cycle of existence that keep us trapped. We are trapped in the realm of existence. We don't know where we from, we don't know why we're here, we don't know who created all of this, but somehow we are trapped in this realm. We're gonna have to keep reborn for a countless lifetime, until one day we come to listen to the Dhamma, have faith in the teaching, and start walk down the path that taught by the Buddha, lead by the Buddha. And that day is the day that you start distance yourself from the cycle of existence. That day that you start getting closer to the end of the round of rebirth. That's what we learn from here. There is something called the life after death. There is something called the law of karma. There is something called merit and demerit that involve in life, which we have no idea. And why we don't know that? Because we were born ignorant. We have mental impurity that the nature implant in our mind the moment that each one of us was born, was created. So today we're going to touch on the concept of merit or Puñña and the demerit or Pãpa. I'm not gonna just telling you what is merit, what is demerit, and then finish. Otherwise, you don't see how they related to each other, how all of this connected to, our spiritual growth. When someone start walk down the teaching of the Buddha, following the teaching of the Buddha. What we see here, okay, let's add some terms. We have Nibbana here. This is important keyword. We have the merit here, or Puñña, and we have the demerit here, or the Pãpa. We have the samsara here, the cycle of existence, which of course is because of the karma. There is the law of karma. Nothing get lost in this universe. Do good and do bad, it will be kept in our mind. There's a karma, the action that we learn the good action and the bad action in a moment ago, right? Wholesome action and unwholesome action. Wholesome action generate merit. Unwholesome action generate demerit or Pãpa. And when someone have more merit, that person is getting closer toward Nibbana. And when someone commit an unwholesome action, develop more demerit, the person distance himself away from Nibbana. You see, positive karma and negative karma. So if this lifetime we born here, we study Dhamma, we observe precept, we practice meditation, we do our best to be a good person, ethical person. And let's say if we die, according to the law of karma, you do good, you get good. People who have more merit than demerit, at the moment of death, that energy, that positive energy, that energy will trigger the new consciousness that take that consciousness to reborn in a happy realm, in a better place. It doesn't matter where, okay? I don't know. There are levels of heavens up there. Let's say if someone die, born in heaven, stay there for some time, and when he run out of positive energy, he come back and reborn again, being a human, and start to, come back to the Dhamma, observe precept, practice meditation, continue to give. So basically he come back and reborn as a good being, born in a good family, born with good complexion, born with intelligence, and then he can use that thing, that environment, for him to do more good in the next life, and continue doing this until the job is done. The job is done mean what? The job is done mean you end yourself the round of rebirth. There's no more rebirth. That means, in other words, that person realized Nibbana. And another key principle that I should mention here is something called the 5 aggregate, okay, which we will not talk about it today, but just have you see all of them out front, then later on it's gonna help you to connect the dot much better. Okay, the 5 aggregate. When we talk about the Dhamma group 5, we will be covering the topic of the 5 aggregate. Just for the short explanation, the 5 aggregate is the body and mind. Okay, human being, we compose of body and mind. In other words, good, bad, not good, not bad, come from this very body and this very mind. When you do good, you get good. Where that's the goodness keeps, it keep in the mind. When you do bad, you get bad. Where does those bad things keep? It's keep in the mind. It's keep in this very body. So the discovering of the Buddha about the Four Noble Truths, about the Noble Eightfold Path, come from understanding the nature of himself, come from fully understanding the nature of 5 aggregate, the body and mind. The defilements also keeps in human mind, and defilement force us to do bad action, right? Force us to do bad action, body, speech, and mind. And that's once commit the bad karma, it will it will yield the fruit of that action later on in life. So all of these, they are related, they are connected. The terms of 5 aggregate, the terms of defilements, the term of Nibbana, the terms of merit, the terms of demerit, the term of law of karma. You see, they're all related. And they all involve us. This is our life. This is something that we should know because they involve in us. They're not just nearby. They're actually within us. The defilement is actually within our mind, not just somewhere outside. Do good and do bad, it actually comes from our own mind. So we need to know how the mind works. We need to know how the law of karma works. We need to know how merit and demerit works, so we can be safe in the cycle of existence, which is quite scary. We don't know where we're from, we don't know why we're here, and we don't know where we're going. Even at the moment, we seem to know after we come to the teaching, but we still need to give ourselves a chance to explore deep, put Dhamma into practice, and realize the Dhamma by yourself. Okay, so this is just the beginning of today's lecture. Okay, let me take you back to this quiz from last week, and then we'll continue. Only 3 questions. In the context of the triple gems, what does taking refuge mean? B. Committing to follow the Buddhist path. Okay. Second one. What does not to do any evil primarily encourage? Accumulating good karma, abstaining from harmful actions, meditation practice, studying Buddhist scripture. Not to do any evil encourage us to abstaining from a harmful action. And the last one, which of the unwholesome is characterized by fundamental misunderstanding of reality? This dealing with the defilements. We talk about greed, hatred, delusion. Automatically, when you see the word greed, okay, you should know what it means, right? It's craving for something. Hatred is the anger, agitation, irritation. Delusion is the moha. And the attachment is the craving, another term for craving. So this is about misunderstanding of the reality, and that is delusion. Okay, so for today, we will covering the concept of merit, of puñña, and demerit, which is Pãpa or bab. And then how can we make merit according to the teaching of the Buddha. So basically, what is merit? Why should we make merit? And how can we make merit? When we make merit, we automatically avoid making demerit or Pãpa. So this topic should be together. It's relevant, and you can see them together, how they are different. So the merit and demerit in Buddhism. For those of you who study Dhamma for quite some time, you may be familiar with this concept. But today, let's just recap, or perhaps pick up something new into your wisdom hard drive, to see if you can pick up something that you can add on to what you already know. So let Longpi start with this. In one teaching, the Buddha said, Buphekata punyata etammang khalamuttamang. Etammang khalamuttamang mean the great. This is the great blessing. What is considered one of the great blessing? Buddha said, okay, to have done meritorious deeds in the past is the great blessing. Punyata mean meritorious deeds, to do good. Why did he say that? To have done meritorious deeds in the past is great blessing. In this world, 7 billion people. People are so different. Why we were created different? Why someone born poor, someone born rich, someone born intelligent, someone born uneducated, someone born handicapped, someone born healthy, someone born with good family, someone born in difficulty in life. Who created that? Why the world seem to be unfair? So this kind of question, sometimes we may not ask ourselves. We may not have a pause moment to reflect about life. But what we learned today This is not the first lifetime that we born. The Buddha talked about the karma. The Buddha himself, he revealed his own life. The life that of himself have been born and reborn, accumulating perfection, accumulating merit for a countless lifetime until he become a Buddha. So that proved that the law of karma does exist. This is a law of nature that the Buddha did not create it. And each lifetime that we born, we also bring back the fruit of karma that we created in the past, whether good or bad, with us. It's come with us. The good and bad that we did in the past life, is come with us. There's something called the old karma and something called the new karma. The Buddha talked about two kinds of karma, the old karma and the new karma. So the old karma, what we did, it will give the result. If not this lifetime, it will yield the result in the future lifetime. Let's say you do good today, you meditate, you read Dhamma book, you make offering one life, and this positive energy will attract goodness into your life. This very life, in your business life, in your family life, in your health, at a certain level, it will bring goodness to your life. Not only in this life, it will carry on to yield the fruit of that positive energy to you in the future life. Same thing with the bad things. Do something bad, stealing someone, stop breaking precept. It will keep on hunting us, but we just don't know when and how those karma will be taken effect, will be ripening. We have no idea. That's complicated, but definitely good and bad, it will take effect. It will keep coming back to the doer, to us who did or created that karma, and we cannot run away from that. This is the truth that everyone should be aware of. So to have done merit in the past, to have done good thing in the past is considered a great blessing, because if someone have done good thing in the past, in this very life, your life will be in good condition to do more good. You will be born in a good country with financially secure, have good health, good family who support you to be prosper in Dhamma, in the spiritual development. Someone want to ordain. I have seen many people want to become a monk, but parents don't support them. So they have a hard time to continue their monk's life. They have to disrobe and go back and work because parents cannot support them. Parents don't understand why their son should become a monk. If you want to observe 5 precepts, 8 precepts, and your husband said, oh, you know what, it doesn't do any good, it's just a waste of time. So he turned himself not supporting you in observing precept, in making donation, even though you want to do it, it's good. So that's condition of your life that you created for yourself in the previous life. So all of these things happening for a reason. There's nothing in this world, according to the teaching of the Buddha, that happened for no reason, happened by accident. No such thing. It's about cause and effect. It's about cause and condition, which we create for ourselves. Somehow we didn't know what we did in the past, but we can kind of look around and to see where we at in life at the moment. What about your health at the moment? What about your financial at the moment? What about your relationship at the moment? What about your education at the moment? That's something can telling us that, oh, okay, I have done some pretty good deed in the past. That's why I born, healthy this life, born in a good family, have good education, have good life. So don't be careless. That means you have done good deeds enough for you to have good life in this life. If you want to be better than next life, in the future life, so you need to work on yourself now. Come back to practice the Dhamma, come back to meditate, come back to offering, come back to observing precept. All of this is what the Buddha teach. That's why he said having the merit, having done the good merit in the past is considered a great blessing. So you can move on with your life. You can do a lot of good things because your life is in good condition, which not many people have these opportunities. Okay, so in this, like I said, in this 7 billion people on the planet, how many people have time for meditation? How many people believe in the law of karma? How many people would like to make donation, would like to share loving kindness, would like to help others? It's very rare. Let's elaborate this a little bit. Earlier we talked about the wholesome root of wholesome and unwholesome, right? We know that, okay, wholesome root or akusala mula. Unwholesome root come from these three things, from greed, from hatred, and from delusion. And wholesome root, the root that force us, that drive us to do good, there are three things: non-greed, non-hate, and non-delusion. And that gives us the different result. The wholesome root drive us to gain merit. The unwholesome root drive our behavior to behave wrongly. It will take us to the realm of demerit or Pãpa, to have more of negative energy into our life. It comes from cause and effect. We talked about this last week, the vicious cycle, right? That discovered by the Buddha, about the cycle of existence, about the karma, about the defilements, about the rebirth cycle. Because of the kilesa in the mind, it forces human to do karma. And whatever karma that we do, whether positive or negative, it will keep in the mind, it will yield the result. It's called the fruition or the vipaka in the future. You may be asking, Luang Pi, when I make donation tomorrow, this morning I offering food to the monk, when can I get that result? Oh, the guy just stealing someone's stuff yesterday, how come, he's still has been having a good life? He cheat on his customer, his company is still ongoing in terms of making more profit. You may be asking such a question, but you have to understand that everything's take times, right? If you grow banana today, you cannot have banana tomorrow. You need to wait 1 year to get banana. And if you grow banana without taking care of or look after that banana tree, even though you may be getting the banana, but you may not get it as you wish, because you don't look after the tree that you grow. There are conditions that involve. But if you grow banana, you definitely gonna get banana, not mangoes, not apple. That's the law of karma. So if you do good, you definitely gonna get good. But how soon that goodness will come to you? There are also conditions. What about yourself? Are you a man of precept? Or you break precept all the time? You do good once a year, make donation, meditate, observe 5 precepts once a year, and hopefully life will be happy and better than last year right away. It doesn't work like that. You need to be smart to look into the cause and condition of each particular karma that you are doing for yourself. But no matter what it is, good and bad, it's going to keep coming back to you as the doer of a person who commit that karma by yourself. So start from the first one, the merit concept or the puñña. Pali is called puñña, translate to English as the merit, which again sometimes quite confusing. When I talk to my friend as a Westerner, most people in the West, when they think of merit is just something good. You pick up the garbage and put into the bin, that's merit. But Buddhist people, we don't feel that way. When we hear the word puñña, we feel more joy, we feel more elation, we feel more rapture, we feel more peace. Because of the word puñña is not just doing good thing, it's more energetic. It comes with the deep meaning, deep feelings when we think of the merit or the good thing that we have done. So it translates like this: that which purifies and cleans what? The mental defilements. That's the meaning of puñña, according to the Pali terms. Today I feel very grateful because in the past week I running out of voice. I was worried whether I would have voice on Sunday or not. So now it seems the voice come back, but even though not 100%. So please, forgive me if I have to drink water from time to time. Okay, that's the meaning of the puñña. So when you think of puñña, you think of cleansing agent. Cleansing agents. You think of when you do the dishes. You need the detergent to clean the dirtiness, the oily plate. Something that regular water cannot clean. The cleansing factor, that's the meaning of puñña. But in this case, it's not just the cleansing of the dirtiness on the plate. Something that needs to be cleansed in the mind, mental, impurity, mental defilements. How can we clean the mind? Okay, we clean the body, we take shower, we use soap, shampoo, then the body become clean. But the mind also get dirty from the defilement. How can we clean the mind? Same approach. We need detergent. We need some factor. We need something that refine enough to clean the mind. And that is the merit. That's the idea of puñña. So you can also think of merit as the pure energy. It's a positive energy. It's not just positive, it's pure. It's pure. Pure mean what? You think of energy when you may help someone 5 years ago or 10 years ago, the good things, save someone from accidents or support someone, give them the scholarship so the poor kid can go to school, and 10 years later the kids graduate, he become a business owner, become successful. And when you look at your own action that you did 10 years ago, that energy come back and give you abundance of feeling good about yourself. That's a pure energy. You feel good every time you think of your own action. The energy never get lost. The more the merrier, the more the better. That's the idea of the puñña. There is pure energy and impure energy, which is opposite, right? Impure energy is the demerit, which we will talk about it in a moment. So you can think of merit as the cleansing factor, clean the mind from mental impurities. And also the pure energy. When you think of this merit act that you done, it bring you peace and joy all the time. That's the energy. So the more the better. Okay? If you help one person to get education, you feel good. Imagine if you can help 10 kids, 100 kids, if you can help the whole school to build a school for them and send all the kids to the better college. You see, it's multiplying. The energy multiplies, so you feel much more energetic, much more grateful of your own action. That's the idea of the merit or the puñña. And of course, it's you happiness. Even a little good things can bring you happiness and joy. The Buddha always suggests to do good, even a little things, even helping, a little being like ant, save the ants from, someone maybe step on it, you just remove it, or the ant that's stuck in the water, a little water pond, and just take them out, take the ants, free the ants somewhere. And oftentimes I did that because I live in the forest. When I walk out, I notice a lot of things like these happenings. It just come from loving kindness. I just want to help, and it's just feel very good, even though it's just a little things. So it yield happiness. That's the power of merit, the act of doing good things. It will yield happiness not only in this life, but also at the moment of death and the life in the future. And there are many terms that use when it comes to English vocabulary that try to explain the word puñña or merit in English. Many terms. If you look at the Pali dictionary, all of these point to the same thing. Okay, like brightness, the good deeds, the virtue, the wholesomeness, the goodness, cleansings, moral acts, righteousness, the purities. So all of these point to the idea of puñña. One English vocabulary is not enough to explain the whole meaning of the word puñña. Okay, that's why I said earlier, it's not just doing good. It's more than just doing good. It's the feeling wise, it's the energetic wise, it's the there's some powerful energy every time we think of that particular merit that we have done. In one teaching, the Buddha said, monks don't fear puñña, don't fear good deeds. For puñña is a term for happiness, for what is likable, desirable, and agreeable. In this Metta Sutta, the Buddha talk about puñña. Little thing, whatever considered good, please do it, because it will bring happiness to you. You will create the condition for yourself, okay, to have a good life in the future. One should practice only good deeds. when a whose happy outcome straight ahead. You see, happy outcome straight ahead. Giving, donation, and moral conduct is the precept or the sila, and developing the mind is the bhavana or meditation. The Buddha elaborate more of, okay, this is, you can use this as a framework to do good by giving, find way to give, find opportunity to give, and you yourself observe precept and make sure that you meditate, practice the loving kindness, practice the compassion, develop the quality of your mind. Then, happiness is the outcome that you can expect. Very simple. So in other words, when your intention and action are good, you gain merit. Oppositely, when your intention and action are bad, you gain demerit or Pãpa. Now we move on to the demerit concept. What is demerit? It's opposite to merit, right? The demerit or the Pãpa, demerit, is that which is evil or wrongful and leads to suffering. That's literally what it means, according to the Pali dictionary. That is the Pãpa or demerit. Again, what is merit? Merit is the cleansing, right? It's the cleansing agent which purify and cleanse the mental impurity. That's the characteristic of merit. But this is the characteristic of the demerit or Pãpa. It's evil, it's wrongful, and it leads to suffering. There are terms that use when it comes to the Pãpa in English vocabulary. There are many terms. If you study by yourself, you will come across these terms. But again, none of them, stand alone is enough to explain the idea of Pãpa or demerit. Think of evil, something bad, something dirty, something sinful, something corrupt, that is cruelty, crime, dullness, unwholesome. All of this point back to the word. Okay? And this also is a typical situation that you can apply in all of the Dhamma that you will be learning in the future. When it comes to the Pali terms, there's no enough English vocabulary, one or two of them that can explain the whole meaning of that particular Pali terms. So you need to find more vocabulary that help you to understand, that help you to feel like, okay, this makes sense. Now I know what these terms means. Don't rely on just one thing or one vocabulary. Okay, so this is the idea of the Pãpa. You think of dirtiness. The mind may be pure, right? Say you just meditate, you feel very good, the mind is peace and calm, you just share loving kindness after 30 minutes of sitting peacefully in the early morning. And once you leave your meditation seat, you go to the kitchen, you turn on the news, turn on the television, and there's a news about violence, there's a news about crime, about people kill people, or maybe your neighbors start to have a fight and yelling with each other, or maybe say something bad to you, start complaining about your dog, and the mind get dirty with those defilements, with those input that come to your ear, come to your eye, and it go to the mind, and it give trigger to the defilement which already there, which is anger. I don't like people say something bad about my dog. I don't like people complain about my house. And then the mind get dirty. So you start losing your happiness out of your meditation. 30 minutes, it's gone. So the dirtiness is the idea. It's also an impure energies. Energy means it can be kept, right? Just like if you charge your mobile phone, the mobile phone can be used maybe 6 hours and then it run out again, you have to charge it again. So energy can be kept. In this case, the negative energy and positive energy can be kept in human mind. Positive one we call merit, negative one we call demerit or the Pãpa. It crowded the mind, it's caused the mind to be impure. And of course, it will lead to suffering. The more Pãpa, the more demerit that you cultivate. Okay, so this is similar to what we learned about the merit concept. This is opposite. The merit is about pure energy, right? Demerit is about impure, can be accumulate, okay? Those negative energy. And the more you have, the more the mind become dirty. And the more the mind become dirty, it's gonna, yield a negative result. It lead life to be suffering. Keep on breaking precept, keep on telling a lie, keep on hurting others. That person will accumulate negative energy into his life, and he will end up suffering. Not only in this lifetime, but in the future lifetime as well. Okay, so this is also another interesting concept, because when we talk about sin, we talk about demerit. There also the concept of sin in other religions or other teaching as well. Sins, according to the dictionary, sin is the offense or the breaking of religious or moral law. When someone breaks the law of religion, is called sin. If the religious doctrine said, okay, you're not allowed to eat a certain kind of meat, and if you eat that meat, you commit sin, according to the law of the rules or regulation of that particular doctrine. And confession also is another term that very confused, because Buddhism also uses the same term, but it has different meanings. Okay, in the West or in other doctrine, confession, mostly used in the Christianities, to confess of your own wrongdoing. Tell someone in private that they have done a wrong, so they can be forgiven. That's the idea of why someone do confession. You go to some place private and you confess what you did to the priest or someone that's have a duty to take care of that particular ceremony, to do confession, and then the person is forgiven. Whatever bad thing that he or she did before is done, is forgiven. But this is not the case in Buddhism. Same thing, people come and ask the Buddha, can sin be removed in your doctrines? Can it be removed? Now you come to study Dhamma. If you are asked this question, how would you respond? How would you answer? The good and the bad that we have done, can they be removed? In this sutra, the Buddha explained the idea of a man taking a shower, okay, in different river, and then he compared to this, because that's what the man normally did. Okay, whenever he did something bad, he would follow the tradition to go to that particular river and bathe himself into the river, and then he would feel pure. He would feel removed from the bad thing that he did. So he go to the river called Pãpa, Athikakha, Khaya, Suntrika, and Sawati. See, all of this name is the name of the river. Pahutati, Pahumati, Pahuka. Sometimes you hear the word Pahuka, but it's okay. It's a Pali term. Anyway, what is meant by this is, you just go to take shower, okay, take a bath in this river. A fool may there forever bathe, yet will not purify dark deeds. What can Sandarika do? What can Payaka do? This is the name of the river. What can those rivers do for you? They cannot clean a cruel and criminal person from their bad deeds. So the Buddha confirmed that, there's no point of you doing bad and go bathe yourself in those sacred rivers like people follow. And if you speak no lying, no harms, any living creatures, you have no harm toward all beings, nor stealing anything not given to you, and you are faithful and not stingy. What's the point of going to those rivers, the Khaya river, or for any well or any place to bathe yourself? You don't have to. That is clearly the Buddha point us to the direction that this is what we should do when it comes to remove sin from our life. There is a way to handle this. Not just go into sacred river and bathe yourself in there and come out clean. It doesn't work that way because the bad deeds, the negative energy is kept in your mind. If you go bath yourself, your body can be clean, but not the mind. You need the cleansing agent, which is Puñña and the Pãpa. This is how it works. The mind should be like this, pure and bright and clean. And all of a sudden, the mind become crowded for some reason because of the mental impurity that come and goes all the time, moment to moment. You see, today, how many times that you get angry? From the morning until now, how many times that you feel like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I like this, I like that. You get annoyed with something, you get bored with something. We are facing this mental impurity on a day-to-day basis. Our job is to make sure that the mind is remain calm, remain in the bright, shiny, and pure state at all time. That's what we should do. That's what we should be aware. Don't let the demerit or the defilements to take control your mind too long. That is not good. Even though we may be able to remove them completely, but we can handle them properly. Utilize the teaching of the Buddha. Okay, this is the good quality of the mind that one should maintain, right? This is the quality of the mind that one should be avoid staying there or allow it to be happening. If we are mindful, we can do something about it. Okay, so this is the idea of what if a guy have done a lot of bad thing in his life and now he come to study Dhamma, what should he do? He cannot remove it. So does it mean that he have to stay there and waiting for the bad karma to take effect and destroy his life? No. Buddhism never teach something like that. We are not born to accept whatever life gives to us. Or in other words, we are not born to accept the karma that we done in the past and just let it be like that. For example, if a man born poor because he may not give enough in the past, he don't have to be living in this lifetime and waiting for life to hit him hard to live in that poor condition for the rest of his life. It's okay to born poor because we don't know what we did. We already born already. But it's not okay to die poor. That means you just accept it and allow life to hit you hard without fighting it back. You need to take charge of your own life. And this is what we can do by using this approach. You think of these three things. There is a water, there is a salt, and there is a water tank. If you put the salt in this spoon into this water glass, the glass of water, and you drink it, you cannot drink because it's very salty. The amount of water and the amount of salt is almost equal. It will become a salty water and it's undrinkable. But if you put this water into the tank, after you mix the salt together in that water, in the glass, and you put the whole glass dump into this big tank of water, and you drink the water from here, now the water is drinkable. You don't even feel salty because there's too much water in there and so little salt in that water tank. But the amount of salt in this glass and in this water tank is the same amount. Let's say 50 milligram. It's the same. But here it's very salty. Cannot drink. Over here it's delicious. The water has no taste because you don't feel the taste of the salt. There are more water than the salt. So salt is like the sins or the Pãpa. Water is like the merit or the Puñña. Puñña or merit. So your job is to add more merit, add more water, stop adding salt into your life. If you have been breaking precept, maybe you don't know. You hang out with the wrong crowd or the wrong group of people that support you in breaking precept, killing, lying, sexual misconduct, intoxicant. And now you come to know. The Buddha said, stop doing bad. Okay, now observing precept. Stop adding. In other words, he said, stop adding salt into your life. you add more water. Even though the salt is still there, the bad action, the bad karma that you did still with you, but it will have a difficult time to take effect because you have more merit or more water, pure water into your life. And that's what you can do. So don't feel intimidated, don't feel discouraged. We don't know that we don't know, and now we come to know. Our job is to hit the reset button and start over again to do good. Why making merit is so essential, is so important when it's come to the teaching of the Buddha. Why is that? In the moment of death, this is something that nobody can help us. It's like a war, the last battle in life, the last breath that's about to come. And in that particular moment, one will witness one's own action, whatever one did in that lifetime. Good, bad, not good, not bad, good, bad, not good, not bad, good, bad, not good, not bad. It's just like you sit there and watch the movie, and you are the actor in that movie, actor or actress. You see yourself in that movie. You are the one who runs the show. You do good, you see the picture of yourself doing good. You do bad, you see the picture of yourself doing bad. But it just happened very quickly, and only you can understand. It's like the reviewing moment of life before you depart to the next life. Negativity is the Pãpa. Positivity is the Puñña or the merit. Which one is more? Which one gives you happiness? Puñña or merit give us happiness. It will give us to the feeling of being secure, less worry. But if someone commit a lot of bad things, break a lot of precepts, the mind is crowded, the mind become dark. He will feel insecure, he will get scared. Because the bad action that he did in that life, in this life, the picture of those pictures will come to that last moment, and he will witness his own bad action, and that will bring back those negative energy, which is not good. So a man may be ordained, become a monk 3 months, go to the temple, make offering, give food to the monk, or do all kind of good thing, but at the same time he also break all kind of precepts like telling a lie, sexual misconduct, dishonest to his spouse, drinking alcohol and this and that. So it's like a reviewing process, and if more of positive energy, this is good sign. Oppositely, if more of action of doing bad deeds, that's a bad sign for that person to go to the bad place. That is why understanding the concept of the law of karma, understanding the concept of merit and demerit is so crucial in the teaching of the Buddha, because life gonna have to continue to reborn. And when we get reborn, we will bring whatever we did in the previous life. It's like accumulation of those positive and negative karma with us in the future life. And another way of looking at this, why making merit is so important, because we are dealing with the mental impurity, which is deep root in our mind. There are 3 kinds of wholesome root, right, that we learn. There is the greed, there is the hate, and there is the delusion. They consider the 3 wholesome root of the 3 unwholesome root of action. They come from here. To deal with them, we need the cleansing agent. And merit, we did talk about it. Merit is a cleansing agent, something that we can use to cleanse the mental impurity out of our mind. So to cleanse greed, we need to practice the giving, this one. If a person who has stingy mind, they cannot give. That means they surrender to greed. To win the battle, a man need to practice giving. Dosa, a man need to observe precept, practice more of precept. And the moha, delusion, a man need to practice meditation. So it helps to clarify the mind, it helps the mind to be bright and pure, and be able to penetrate deeper into his own mind through the meditation object that he practiced. Okay, so it's like an antidote. Antidote for greed is giving. Antidote for hate is observing precept, and antidote for delusion is meditation. And how? Now we come to the part. How can we accumulate merit? We have been talking about merit and demerit. How can we cultivate merit? What's the idea? How to do that? The basis of meritorious action is called Puñña Kiriya Vattu. Puñña means merit. Kiriya means action or make or create. Vattu means procedure. This is how one can cultivate merit according to the teaching of the Buddha. And I like to share you the reference that the Buddha did mention this himself of how one can cultivate merit. In Puñña Kiriya Vattu Sutra, the Buddha mentioned to the monk that monks, there are three bases of meritorious activities. In other words, there are three ways that you can make merit. First, say what threes? Number one, the basis of meritorious activity consisting of giving or dana. Second is virtuous behavior or sila. And the third is meditative developments or the bhavana. Okay, the sila, the dana, the sila and the bhavana. Okay, so in this picture, it summarized the sutra that we just read together. When it comes to merit, punya, there are three ways of cultivate merit. First is to give. Second is to observe precept. And the third is to develop the mind through the meditation practice. Which again, dana deal with greed, right? Sila deal with hate, antidote for hatred. And the meditation or the bhavana deal with delusion or moha. Okay, that's how I would like everyone to kind of think when you see, when you hear the word merit, when you hear the word dana, sila, and samadhi. You know, how do they work? What would be the antidote for all of this? So there are three ways. So let's take a look at the first one, giving or dana. There are three things that you can practice in terms of giving. First one is called amisa. You give material gift. Give food, give clothes, give money, give buildings, give tangible things, material things to others. That's the first kind of giving, which is understandable. Second gift is called the gift of forgiveness. Apayathan, apayadana. This is a little bit more difficult, and you may not realize that, hey, offering the forgiveness is considered one form of giving too. It's not easy to forgive someone that hurt your feeling, right? And it's also generate more punya when you can do that, because you let go hatred. The reason you can forgive someone because you let go hatred toward that person. And the last gift is the gift of Dhamma. The Dhamma dana or Dhammathan, the Dhamma dana, the gift of Dhamma. And this is the best gift that one can give to others. What Long Pi is doing at the moment, I'm giving the Dhamma. I'm giving the Dhamma dana. This is the best gift that one can give to others. Because when you give someone wisdom, the person can be saved from the wrongdoing, from the wrong view, from the wrong path in life. That's the idea of giving Dhamma. You give food to someone, the person may be able to survive 7 days, and then he need to go find food again. And when he get energy, maybe he do bad thing. So it's not guaranteed that you get the maximum benefit of your giving, but still encouraged to give, right? That's the material things. But when it's come to giving the wisdom, giving the experience, giving the Dhamma, you actually give people wisdom so they can live good life. And you may be wondering, how should I give and where should I give? And there's a tip for you. This is the bonus for you guys today. In one teaching, in the conversation of the King Pasenti and the Buddha, King Pasenti was very smart king. And when he had faith toward the teaching of the Buddha, and now he's ready to put it to practice, he asked the Buddha, where should I give and who should I give? Simple question. What would you say? Where should you give and who should you give? The king Pasenti said to the Buddha, "Sir, where should a gift be given?" And the Buddha said, "Wherever your heart feels inspired," the great king. But where is a gift very fruitful? He is smart. He is very smart. So the second question implied that, wow, now the kings know what he is asking. The king know what he is asking the Buddha. He wants to get the maximum benefit out of his giving. The Buddha answered this: where a gift should be given is one thing, but where a gift is very fruitful is another thing. Only smart people can ask this kind of question. A gift is very fruitful when it's given to an ethical person, not so much to an unethical person. Now you can have this as a framework to give. Wherever you feel you have faith, wherever you feel happy to give, then you give. Not only that, if a person or the receiver is an ethical person, observe precept, then you will get more benefit out of your giving. But it doesn't mean that you neglect to give to help underprivileged people, like poor people or even the animal. The Buddha never said that. He said, even a little thing that considered good, the Buddha encouraged us to do good. Just like you add the drop of water into the bucket, the water will get full later on. So 5 ways to give, 5 ways to help, 5 ways to generate merit, even though you may feel like it's a little things. But this is, since the king asked the Buddha like this is how the Buddha answered to the king. So you give wherever you have faith, you give wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you feel good to give. You're faithful with this teacher, you go offer to this teacher. And on top of this, if the receiver of your gift is ethical person, then you gain more benefit of giving something to someone who is unethical. What about the sila? Sila, most people understand. We talk about the basic sila, the 5 precepts. Refraining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and intoxicants. All of this is a universal morality that everyone should practice. Once someone breaks this precept, that person commit the bad karma, and that's accumulate the demerit of Pãpa in his or her own mind, which will yield the negative result into his life and her life down the road. So you can use the 5 precepts as the frameworks to decide, okay, is this action good or this action bad, by coming to this basic principle of the 5 precepts. So when you observe precept, you also create more bun, because your mind, you stay away from violence, stay away from hatred. The mind become peace, become kind, become soft, become loving kindness, become more understanding. And that is the good quality of the mind. That means the mind is calm, is pure, and is bright. That's why it doesn't want to harm anybody, it doesn't want to steal anything from anybody, it doesn't commit sexual misconduct, it doesn't want to telling a lie, it doesn't want to intoxicate, because the mind is in good qualities. And how can we do that? That's another thing, right? It's about practice, developing the mind through all kind of mindfulness and meditation practice that are available. This is another form of cultivating merit as well. Why meditation generate merit? Meditation, you do nothing, right? You just sit there, close your eye, and all of a sudden you gain merit. Is that how it works? The answer is here. This is why Buddhist monks practice meditation. This is why people in the past practice meditation. We don't meditate just for relaxation, but this is why we must meditate. The mind is illuminous and it can be free from passing defilements. The wise person understands this as it really is. This means what? This means this. Therefore, for him, there is a mental development. If you are asked why you meditate, this may be another answer. Most people in this world meditate just for relaxation, reduce stress, having a lot of headache, too much thought. So let's go find teacher and teach me how to meditate. But monk and nuns, people who following the teaching of the Buddha in the past, hopefully nowadays as well, this is the main purpose why they meditate. They understand the nature of the mind, they understand the nature of the mental impurities, they understanding, the wholesome and unwholesome condition of the mind. That's why we must meditate. Because when the mind is crowded, get dirty by the mental impurities, that mind cannot be happy. And with an unhappy mind, the thinking is not clear. When thinking is not clear because the mind is crowded, what you are about to say and about to do will definitely, incline toward an unwholesome action. Say bad thing, do bad thing because the mind is unhappy. The reason the mind is unhappy because the mind is crowded. And the reason the mind is crowded because the mind is overwhelmed by the mental impurities. And how can we cleanse the mind? We learned that already. To cleanse the mind, you cannot just go take shower and buy expensive shampoo or the soap. It doesn't work that way. You need to meditate. You need to develop loving kindness, compassion, all kind of things that you can develop the quality of the mind. But mainly, meditation is the most obvious and the outstanding way to develop the quality of the mind. That's why we gain more merit every time we sit down. Just like you have the glass of water, which is murky. There's a lot of dust in there. And you cannot see things inside. Your mind is overwhelmed with greed, with lust. And what you can do to deal with this water, you do nothing. You just have the water sit there 1 or 2 hours and then you come back. And now the water become clear. But the dust is still there. It doesn't disturb you. So same thing, when you meditate, you allow the mind to be at peace. You allow the mind to settle down itself. All the greed, all the hatred, all the delusion, by utilize the mindfulness technique, by utilize the breathing technique that you learn, eventually the mind become calm, peaceful, happy, and happier. That's how the mind works. And then when the mind is clear and bright, that means you regain the original state of the mind. The mind come back to its original state of the mind, which is clear and bright. Then the mind can be happy in that moment. All of this, which one is most difficult to do? Cultivating merit, there are 3 ways, right? By giving, by observing precept, by meditation, or developing the mind. Which act of merit is most difficult to do? Giving, easy to do, right? You have food, you give food. You have money, give money. You have clothes, give clothes. You have something, you give. Precept, you don't have to find anything. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to dress up in any form of dress code. You can observe precept anywhere in this world. 5 precept, 8 precept, 200 precept. Somehow observing precept need more understanding, need more determination, needs more patience to observe precept. Because when you give, it's one-time deal. You get up in the morning, give food to the monk, your job is done. You give already. But precept, it's not like I'm going to observe 5 precepts for 5 minutes. There's no such thing. Precept is about your commitment that my life today will be wholesome. I will use precept to protect me from bad things. So before leave house today, I'm going to set my intention not to kill, not to lie, avoid do all of these bad things until I come back home tonight. This is a little bit more difficult. But meditation seems to be simple. It doesn't cost anything. You can sit anywhere. However, it is something that seems to be most difficult for many people to do because maybe they don't know how to meditate. One thing. Second thing, they may know how to meditate, but they have been sitting for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, but they don't feel like they're making progress. I see nothing, feel nothing. What's the point of me continue to sit because I see nothing and feel nothing? You need to ask yourself, why you meditate. Do you sit to see something? Or do you sit to feel something? Or why do you come and sit? Why you want to develop meditation habit for your life? All of these questions need to, from time to time, reflect. Okay, but as you can see, dana is not that difficult. You have something you give. You can give once a month. You can give once a year, and then you feel good. Giving is fulfill. Sila, okay, maybe observe 5 precepts and 8 precepts from time to time. Okay, a little bit more difficult, but it's worth it. But meditation, how can we make meditation as a habit? That's something that I would like you to get back to yourself and make sure that you have that built. It's difficult, but it's worth it. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Why did I say that? Okay, because, oops. Yep. In this critical moment in life, we cannot just all of a sudden think of good thing. Many people are very careless. Some students that I have met, they say, Luang Pi, I know how to meditate. I have done some good deeds. I know when I think of this, I feel good. I will think of this picture the moment that I about to die. He is very confident that he can do that. How do you know? In that, you've never been in that moment. In this critical moment, the mind is scared, is worried about a lot of things, about money, about possession, about wife, about children, about where should I go after I die, and I don't want to die. On top of that, there is a doctor, there is a nurse, there is the medical equipment, there is the oxygen mask, everything is in your body. How can you remain calm? How can you bring back those positive energies if you don't meditate on a daily basis? If you never habituate the mind to come back to the body more often during the day, every day in your life. That is why meditation is extremely important, to habituate the mind to come back to the body more often. Before you go to bed, spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes. After you wake up, another 10 minutes, 5 minutes. If you can sit more than that, it's good. Make sure 30 minutes a day for the rest of your life. It's worth investment. You may see nothing, hear nothing. It's not the point of seeing thing or hearing thing in meditation. It's about you building that habit to bring the mind back to the calm and clear state of mind all the time. Okay? We almost done. Okay, the effects of merit and demerit. This is Puñña and this is Pãpa. Okay, when someone cultivates more merit, it's better. Okay, a rebirth. You secure yourself to reborn in the good condition in the future life, in the higher realms. Improve life circumstances and opportunity is attract. Okay, the mind is the chief. The mind is the forerunner of all things. The mind attract. If the mind is good condition, the mind attract goodness. If the mind in bad condition, the mind attract badness. Progress toward enlightenment. The more merit one cultivate, one getting closer toward Nibbana. Oppositely, the more demerit one cultivate, it distance you away from the spiritual path. It's lower, okay, rebirth in a realm of suffering. It's bring more problem, obstacle, and challenging into our life because of the negativity action that we have done when we were still alive. So merit transfer, this is another interesting concept in Buddhism, and it's only doctrine that talk about it. Merit can be cultivated. Not only that, the Buddha did not stop there. The Buddha also teach us that merit can be shared. Merit can be transformed and transferred. Okay, so performing the act of good deeds, eventually when you keep making merit long enough, it will become something called perfection, which we will discuss about this later on. The perfection. It will become perfect in giving, perfect in sila, perfect in renunciation, perfect in loving kindness, perfect in equanimity. We call 10 perfection. But for now, just keep on making merit first. Okay, make sure you continue to give, continue to observe precept, continue to sit and practice all kind of good deeds until it becomes your habit. And once it becomes your habit, you're on your way to develop perfection. And then merit can be dedicated And once dedicated to a specific person, someone who we love, who passed away, those person, if they're in the realm that they can receive, they will receive the benefit. Just like you transfer the money to someone, your friend or your people you love. Let's say you in Thailand, you transfer the money to Singapore, and then people in Singapore can receive the money, so they can use that money to buy whatever they want. The idea is like that, similar. Okay, but it's not exactly like that, but it's similar. But there may be a case that people are not ready to receive, but the merit that we send will not get lost. You think of, let's say, if the son may be in the prison for some reason. He stay in the prison, but the parent is at home. But on the son's birthday, so today parents want to maybe give him some gift, let's say buy him a new car. So they go to the prison to pay visit to the son, and son, you know what, today is your birthday, I'm giving you a new car. So this is the key. Whenever you done your time in the prison, you can take that car. But the car will be kept for you. But now you cannot drive it because the condition is not allowed. Similar to this. Some people born in the unhappy realms, they may not be able to access to the merit that people send to them, but the merit will not get lost. It will be waiting somewhere. And when it's done, he's done his time, he can get the benefit out of the giving that people send to him. Okay, so this is what most of us be familiar with, right? When we receive the blessing from the monks, whenever you offer food or offer something, the monk will ask you to pour the water like this. It's just a symbol to keep your mind focused. Ithang me yatinang hotu. Ithang me yatinang hotu. May this merit be for my relatives. Sukhita hotu yatayo. May my relative be happy. That's what we said. Okay. Itang me yatinang hotu sukhita hotu yatayo. May this merit be for my relatives or someone that I like to dedicate the merit for, and may they be happy. And then you pouring the water while listening to the Pali chanting. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang. Until you finish, pouring that water. So this is the idea that the merit can be cultivated and the merit can be shared. And that's a good news, right? So if you love someone, people you love who pass away, now you can, even though they pass away a long time, you can still be able to share the merit to them as well. Okay, so this is the last slide for today. Beyond all of this, merit and demerit, this is another level of study Dhamma. We talk about merit, demerit, cycle of rebirth, karma, nibbana. All of this, they are connected. Accumulating merit is a big job. It's a long journey. That's why it's called perfection. That you should keep in mind. To continue to perfect in sila, in samadhi, in panya, in ubekha, in nekama. All of those 10 things is a perfection. It's not one lifetime job. It's a long journey to be perfect in those areas. And this journey is a journey of not only accumulating merit of developing perfection, but also developing the wisdom to understand why we're doing this, why you give, why you meditate, why you observe precept. It's not just, I want to be born in heaven, not just I want to be born perfect in next life. No, you need to see it through and see it clearly. Where are you heading in your spiritual life, in your spiritual development journey? Okay, and it transcended beyond merit and demerit. Okay, keep this in mind. This may be new to many of you. If you study Dhamma long enough, you will come across this teaching. That this is called the higher teaching. When we talk about merit and demerit, karma and rebirth, which related to the concept of enlightenment or nibbana. To escape the cycle of rebirth or to end the rebirth cycle, which means it's go beyond good and go beyond bad karma. That's something a little bit deep, but it's worth pay attention. Otherwise, our study Dhamma will be like in the superficial, just know, do good and do bad, not good, not bad. Okay, so where are we heading? what is the ultimate goal of walking down this path. So all of this, please go back and reflect on what we learn, okay, and try to understand it, to see if you can pick up something new, Dhamma, new understanding about how to put Dhamma that you learn into practice. Okay, all right. So we should be done for today. Please have a good Sunday afternoon. See you again next week.